Yeah, it's Puueds, and you know, I haven't been to hell yet. You think of the amount of talk it has among people, it'll be a top tourist place to go. But the thing is that, how do you get to it?
Oh, I've been. Here, check this out.
Oh, okay. Dude, this is just hell by Supunj and Shake.
Have you ever wondered what hell looks like?
It's a bit more geometry dashing than I thought.
Hell levels are pretty obvious in the name. They're levels themed around hell, whether it be red and black, or black and red, and maybe a cheeky purple, and if you're bold enough, orange or yellow, plus a whole lot of symbolism to boot. These levels are everywhere. I don't think anyone from the community hasn't played at least one hell level without wincing. They used to be really popular in the 1.9 to early 2.1 era, then kind of fell out a little, and then came back into popularity even stronger than before. I remember the times when the community was much smaller. You could feel the vocality of everyone not wanting hell levels. We kept getting them anyways, and now you're spoiled for choice.
There are more than 15 hell levels that start with the word the. Oh man, which one should I play?
Yeah, you'll be surprised at just how many there are, and how many can technically count, and how many just have the word hell in their name. We'll talk about all three of those categories, because trust me, it'll set us up for the levels that are like this.
Today we'll be talking about hell levels, and it may look like I'm 2 months late, but I'm actually 22 months early, because I have something planned in 10 months, which I planned like, say 8 weeks ago.
So, where to begin? Well, we can start with the level that literally has the word hell in it, aka the Hell Zone by Son0924. This will be in the Geometry Dash Bible as an artist's impression of hell if we had one. The Hell Zone was released in 1.4 update on the 8th of January 2014. It has a lot of tight old school timings with quadruple spike jumps, triple spikes everywhere, and well, there's also an attempt at sync. The gameplay of this level is actually really interesting if you look back on it today, though I think in its heyday it might have been quite normal, albeit extremely difficult. As you would expect, it starts off with red and retains it for most of the level. It does turn purple, but once you reach the end it turns into light blue, which from my perspective means you made it out of the figurative hell. And also apparently gameplay hell, because this level's a bitch on 60Hz. It took about 6 years for the original level to be beaten, and it was beaten by Stormfly on 29th August 2020, and he recommended beating this on a higher refresh rate, so if you're a bit too lazy to go out and travel to hell, this level is always waiting on your phone if it's 60Hz.
Oh boy.
There's also his other levels, the Hell World, the Hell Dignity. How does this name work conceptually?
Oh, well, that doesn't really help.
And the Hell Origin, all of which were made in 1.4 except for the Hell Origin, which was made in 1.5. Can you tell the difference? He had another level in the works called the Hell Inferno, which you can still play on the servers. If you don't feel comfortable thinking about hell, well, the principle behind the message is what matters. Thanks to Gnarly 2001's documented video on the Hell series, there's more fan-made sequels that we can talk about. There's the Hell Gate made by Blue Sea. If there was a country called Hell and you came to it by plane, they wouldn't name one of their airport gates like this, they just seem the type.
I bet an all you hope to enter here. Joke's on you, I bought a two-way ticket.
It's a surprisingly really short level that reminds me of Cold Sweat's Cube gameplay, or Every End by Mindcap, or Acropolis by Zobros, or just layouts that feature no spikes. The Hell Road is something you would probably see just outside the airport. The spikes aren't very good from an infrastructure lens. It's quite a grounded level as there's not a single part where you just don't see the ground. As a result, it's quite interesting to play, but it can get pretty boring really fast, especially when it's all blue as well. The Hell Warrior by RobTop has some strange and kind of incoherent gameplay. No two parts really stitched well together, and they all feel like individual challenges designed to make it near impossible to beat. Check out the ship part near the end, it looks frame perfect for every spike you fly through. I feel like I'm looking at that one Sonic Wave mat. The level name reads like they were trying to write it based on their pronunciation. Your O key is 8 keys away from A. The Hell Rocket, the Hell Auto, this is actually featured. The Hell Ice, this is a really cool level. The Hell Door, this one looks like hell in both visual and gameplay wise. There's a lot of levels that just start with the hell. Give someone a video showcase of any of these levels and if they say this specific phrase,
The hell? Ice.
Speaking of the ice, I found this level called Ice Cave Hell by S'more, and it's quite interesting looking within the level and its impact on other levels today. It follows your typical older level of more freeform gameplay with alternative paths, fake spikes and not much sync. It does have the neat feature of giving you nausea for every jump having a mirror portal. This level wasn't able to be fully recreated, but judging from what you can see here, it seems relatively straightforward. Yet this level has so much history with remakes, with at least 3 versions by Small himself. If you search up Ice Hollow Cave on YouTube, you will find several remakes of Ice Hollow Cave. And trying to piece together a continuous history is possible, but it would be a struggle. I know I was confused when I saw slight variations of the same remake. Huge thanks to the Grass guy who left a comment on this video detailing the history of the level. This level is also really significant as Ice Carbon Zust by RobTop was inspired by this, which then inspired Ice Carbon Diablo X, then Cataclysm, then Bloodbath, Aftermath, and Bloodlust. Bath has someone to thank. We can't forget about the most infamous early levels responsible for either kickstarting or kicking the hell level trends again when they released. Demon Park by M2 Core, or formerly Mid M2 Core, was the first ever demon level, and it inspired RobTop to make the demon rating to classify these difficult levels. The Tassarado demon rating has someone to thank. For the first demon level, it's pretty easy by today's standard, but back then this was probably the first experience of hell. Fake orbs and incorrect paths are just abundant. Triple spikes are everywhere. This one just looks funny. This part where you can choose either between the ship or the cube is actually really well integrated with their paths. And this ship part at 70% has some damn creative structuring. This one just looks like the cube that was released later in 2.1. Since this was the first demon, the community collectively shat their pants. It was the top one at the time.
Oh,
This got a remake which is also called Demon Park by Mel's, Zenda Game, Maxiland, 16 Lord, and many more. It retains the original gameplay with a complete visual overhaul. It's much more vibrant, more colourful, and has a speed limit of 70. This is a park after all, no running over cubes. Even though this is not entirely consistent in theming or decorating wise, there's only like 2 parts I could actually pass off as hell. The rest of the parts are either simply good looking design parts or it's the most beautiful rendition of hell or demons I've ever seen. Necropolis by Neptune is a 1.8 solid insane demon that features a lot of tight board timings, shit segments, the ability to slide on spikes, and a lot of tight board timings. These are the one things preventing me from actually beating this level. The name itself translates to City of the Dead in Roman, and sure enough, this level has enough crosses to make this look like a cemetery. It has some real iconic gameplay of these 2 parts featuring a row of orbs and spikes. This is one of the funnest memory parts to ever exist in the game in my opinion. It's undeniably creative just because of what you need to memorize to jump over with using the orbs or just yourself. Apparently Kramal or Crazy Man 50 at the time was the first to beat this sitting on a bucket. Guess who will beat the second?
Not me though, I'm pretty bad at the game.
There are 2 remakes of this level, Necropolis by Namtar and Necromancer by Riot, Stormfly, Secrets, Platinum, and more. Red World by Sari and Neptune is another 1.8 level that holds up really well. Gameplay wise, not really. As for the name, the visuals are red, hence the name. On the topic of visuals, they're really good for its time. It feels so regal and treacherous. I could imagine this as an actual palace and this is just their backyard. The gardener must not be doing their job right. Also, I think this is one of the first few levels that utilized a swing copter. This was basically the swing before the swing in 2.2. This thing is hard as balls to use sometimes. I've gotten used to it since I've beaten levels like Ultrasonic, but man, it's sensitive. In this level's context, it's the perfect way to link back to hell. Because of the amount of control you need for this, it was damn near impossible. And then it was actually impossible. In 1.9, RobTop changed this specific block, which the creators use as gameplay, to have no hitboxes. You can see the results afterwards. This got a remake called Road Wolf Rebirth in 2.0, and it really honors the original style. I remember being hyped for this back then, and yeah, it's still really good.
So before 1.9, Hell was still able to be well represented, albeit in a much more abstract and geometry-dashed way. It's always looking back to what Hell could look like. Always capable in visuals, but gameplay-wise, they really tie it back because, oh my god.
In 1.9, there was an explosion of hell levels. If you've been around in the community, you'll pretty much recognize every level when I say Cataclysm by G-Boy, 9 Circles by Zobros, Bloodbath by Riot and more, Sakupin Hell by Nubis, Sakupin Circles by Nick24. A lot of them are truly revolutionary. But I'm going to dive into the slightly less mainstream and maybe a bit obscure levels that we forgot about. Dark Hell by Laze is a level that is certainly a spoof of Bloodbath. It starts pretty abruptly and has some very disjointed parts, all stitched together by the theme of Bloodbath block design. This is pretty much 1 minute long, it has user coins, and I think that's really all I have to say about this level. He also made Blue Hell, which is a much more recognizable level because have you seen Hell that's blue? Okay, when you change the hue like that, okay, yeah, I have to agree. Blue Hell's song is quite interesting and would definitely fit the Hell vibe simply because of how disjointed it sounds, which really complements the gameplay style here. It features a ton of duels and it's quite intense because of how much you need to pay attention because of the sync being non-existent. This is also a minute long. Chaotic Hell by Saturn Uz, I'm sensing a pattern of these level names, is another Hell design level, go figure. I remember this level being really hard, but Andromeda says no. It was released back in early 1.9 and yeah, I don't really blame people for thinking this is one of the harder levels at the time. The block design is really nice throughout. I love the details given to the ground spikes and it makes the level feel a lot less empty. Only problem is that that's all you're going to see in the minute of this level. The other parts in the drop do really make up for it. This part is just electrodynamics. Cataclysm by Evasium and Glitterstream is a level you might really recognize. Funnily enough, RobTop put this in the Blade map pack, and as the 4th level in the Chaos Gauntlet. It's an okay remake of Cataclysm. For some reason the background got swapped to a 2.1 background.
I hope they updated for 2.2 to keep it modern.
Lunatic Doom Machine by Andromeda and Optigonus is iconic. This level is a bitch to play sometimes, and it even shares my anger. So glad to have a friend in these trying times. However, despite being such a short level, this had a profound impact on Hell levels afterwards, with a lot of levels using this song, and it surprisingly fits for a Geometry Dash. It also helps that some players showcase it a lot too. It features a pumpkin, a death threat, and you didn't need to rest.
Oh, you're right, I got 8 hours of sleep.
Nightcore by Tiny Man X is a unique take on Hell, but it can be hard to consider this as an actual Hell level. In my opinion, it does. It certainly looks cool and it's a fun and short insane level. So perhaps give this a try if you want to increase your star count by 8. Rain Hell by Epsilon and more is put in here because it has the word Hell in its name, but there's not a single part that is Hell themed. Unless you play the level itself. Holy Jesus! It's okay in some parts, but there are some parts that are so disjointed and weird that nothing flows together. There's this one part by Pluto that's so damn epileptic, I don't even want to show it to you. The one redeeming quality about this was that it was organized on Geometry-Google Plus forums. But still, screw this level. Fire Knight's Polapo by Polapo is a level that exists. The song choice makes no sense, but the name does at least. This is one of the few levels to have a Nong here in 1.9, and if you try to play with just the song it has right now in Geometry Dash, it feels kinda weird. Also, would you attempt to believe me if I said Manic 6.8 could be inspired by this corridor part for Bloodlust? Honestly, it looks too similar. And the Cavern by Passive Blitz. The song choice, well, it's probably the most unfitting song out of everything I talked about. How did this get over 100,000 views on Garen's channel? What's even weirder is that there's a sequel to this just called The Caverns 2, and it's nearly the same thing. There's Night Terrors by Heinz, Stalemate by Nox, Realm of Bloodshadow by GD Miracle, Crimson Clutter by Red Universe, Crimson Chamber by Xanthic Alpha, and the original Slaughterhouse. There's just so many, and the problem is that 2.0 has even more. But before we move into the bombshell that is 2.0 Hell levels, let's finish off with talking about Deathmoon by Funny Game. This is the prime kind of Hell level you want. The song Deathmoon by SHK is the best type of song for Geometry Dash levels. It has very distinct parts and you can easily segment decoration and gameplay here. Plus, they also kick ass. The Chinese characters translate to Deathmoon, which is pretty neat. For traditional Hell levels, Funny Game takes the cake in achieving the best execution even with recent levels today. There is a random demon face with a satanic sign on its forehead at the end of the level, which is quite an unfortunate place to get a tattoo, and an unfortunate tattoo itself.
Well, at least it can hide how big your forehead can be. And now we get to 2.0. Holy god. Remember when I said there was a lot of pushback against Hell levels? Yeah, it was here.
Let's start with the biggest Hell level in 2.0, that is, Yatagarasu. I mean, yeah, Bloodlust is still very huge and it was made in 2.0, but keep in mind that level was verified a year after 2.1 came out. Yatagarasu was verified on January 13, 2017, and the update came out just 4 days later. We'll get around to Bloodlust. Yatagarasu by Riot, Viper and more is a mega collab that is the official sequel to Bloodbath, and it succeeds in my opinion in every way possible. Harder? Yep. Longer? Yep. Bigger? You bet! There are most of the creators coming back with a few new and familiar creators. This level was always on your mind since 2.1 was taking a while. In fact, people thought that when this level was released, 2.1 would be released as well. It did happen with Bloodbath. Now, is that coincidental, or did RobTop genuinely plan his releases around a level's verification? Probably, since it did give him more development time and a sort of flexible deadline to work with.
Hey, did the update release yet? No, I need him to verify Yatagarasu, but until then, I have time.
It did work as the ultimate send-off to 2.0, which, fair enough, it really did work, so kudos. Now, as for any other Hell levels in this update, Aftermath by Xanity and more, which happens to be called Afterclism on the fandom wiki before it got called Aftermath, is a sequel to Bloodbath's ending. It does not start when it ends. It's entirely inspired by Cataclysm, which you can really tell for the first 90%. However, personally, this level just isn't that forgettable despite being so Cataclysm inspired. There is no way I'm really forgetting the robot part, the art background at the end, which is really nice, and the really long ship corridor, which is now just a remnant of what was in the old Cataclysm version. He also made Athanatos with Godzilla and Galileo, which is much more infamous if you were around at the time. I used to not like this level simply because it was hell themed. As a 14-year-old, the words hell and bad do not share any letters, but damn he really wanted it to. Nowadays, I really warmed up to it. The Falling Mist is a great choice, and the gameplay feels so fresh and very well watching. I can never really get bored watching someone play this. The ending is great by using a camera bug with where the cube reaches the end of the level. This is also getting a remake which is called Nemesis by Limetime 313 and more, which is said to be verified by Swyborg. It got an extension and it certainly feels more mid to late 2.1 gameplay than 2.0 gameplay, but it still captures the original feel of it. Plus there was Athanasia by Virus. I barely remember this level existed, and it is basically Athanatos 2, but instead of TOS, it's Asia. There was also another one called Infernum by Amaranth. This level was getting all the bitches. Candlelight by Zara is great visually. Gameplay wise, it's Zara's typical style, which requires a lot of memorization, and sometimes it gets to you even if it's on the easier side. His showcase video is 1/3 of his level, and 2/3 of Funny Game's voice reveal. Reanimation by Terran is like the Death Moon of 2.0. This was hype. Gameplay? Sometimes questionable. It got updated several times, the wave spam part got changed like 4 times or something. Visually? It's peak. It even had cutscenes and a boss. This would have the epic rating if it was invented in 2.0. Same goes for Infernal Abyss by Gigi Boy, Manix, and Bionox. Did you know this was Gigi Boy's original sequel to Cataclysm? I actually didn't until now. I didn't even realize this was a sequel to Cataclysm until I just looked it up on Manix's upload and because Bloodbath came out earlier. Hell by Sapunj and Shig is another great level. While it's not traditionally Hell in terms of what people would normally go for in Geometry Dash, it does it in its own Sapunji way. The gameplay is fun, albeit has a few jumps off screen which can really suck, but overall I dig the decoration and end up being one of the most popular and recognizable Hell levels.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this might be the only Hell level that is just called Hell, and is themed around Hell. Butchered the capitalization of its letters.
Infinity by Joe 2000 shares a lot of similarities with 9 Circles X, despite 9 Circles X not even existing at the time. It is visually good and it has a unique take on the 9 Circles decoration. Okay, this is just 9 Circles X before 9 Circles X. Bloodbath Z by ZYZYX is a very fun level. It uses Hyperiox by Paragon 9, and okay, I've heard other song choices, but this song does make it a blast to play. The first parts are actually really good because of it. The Hell Factory by T-Man2 is predominantly a 1.9 level, but it got updated with a few 2.0 things, such as this wave portal being invisible and text for creators. This was also a really fun level to watch and was one of my favorites back then. There is a wholesome message to Cosine. Didn't expect Hell to have such an emotional range.
And now we get to more Hell levels in 2.0. I don't really know how it got oversaturated to this point. I just remember at the time being really sick of it.
The Flawless. Man, this is not a bad level, it's okay. It's rather what it represented at the time. It was Hell, it had a lot of shit parts, particularly with straight flying. It just didn't have much originality going for it, and the community responded with like, oh come on! Same thing can be said for Step to Hell by Lays, or Rip It by Galzo, but they looked better at least. The Flawless did have some really funny text though.
How'd you just die already? Bro, did you keep it down?
Devil Vortex by Tosh Deluxe and Rustam is infamous for its diagonal soul span. But before that, it was infamous for being a level that was disputed for its verification legitimacy. And before that, it was a Hell level. And it is okay.
If you show an inverse relationship scatterplot to a GD player, they will start investigating you.
Zero Copy by Zariku is... well, some people may consider this a Hell level. I personally don't think it is, but it is so rare that it's tricking my brain. The reason is that some parts do look like Hell, but it's hard to explain the enclosed grid part, or the block design in general being more random, though it's still very cool. Whatever theme this is, it's definitely Hell to figure it out. I do like its gameplay and ideas, it's really creative. Meat Grinder by Nuclear Nacho is... there. It's not the best, but definitely the best at early 2.0 throwbacks if you're looking for that. Same could go for Love Bubba's last part. It's interesting, and pretty inspiring for gameplay ideas. And Lays made another Hell level called Hellish Trip, and it's the same length as his other levels. Damn, how many levels did he make? Oh, I see. He made a green one in 2.1 called Green Hell.
Forget the original RGB trilogy with Yatagarasu, Erebus, and Sonic Wave. We need to complete this RGB trilogy. When will we have Red Hell?
This level is really fun to play though. I still don't really understand how it didn't get rated, but I think it should. And finally, Bloodlust by Manix and Co. This completes the continuity by filling in the song space between Cataclysm and Bloodbath and Aftermath. There's a lot that's already been said about this, it's just a very solid and impactful level on Geometry Dash. Although I will speak about one thing. Bloodlust's most iconic corridor part just wouldn't exist without Five Nights Polopo. Okay, I know that Infernal Abyss might have inspired it, but there is a slight chance it was also inspired by Five Nights Polopo. It did come out after Cataclysm. It's a damn shame that was an oversaturation of Hell levels. Despite having so much potential as you can see today, a lot of creators just thought, It needed to be red or dark with symbolism to tie it together. It got to the point where after Yatagarasu, nobody really wanted them anymore outside of Bloodlust since that was still being verified at the time. Every hell level afterwards just felt unoriginal.
And now we finally get to 2.1 in 19 minutes. But wait, we have so much variety! Probably because there was a 7-year update wait between 2.1 and 2.2.
The final layer is very early 2.1, but I like how endearingly early 2.1 it is. It also helps that the song isn't your typical EDM fare, and the gameplay is not anything noteworthy other than the puzzle piece choice. But I like how understated it is in its sync. This is probably one of my favorite hell levels, just simply because it feels so geometry dashy. Remember when I said Lunatic Doom Machine's song was going to be used more? Asmodeus by Vexian and more uses just that, and it's another hell level. It seems fun to play at least. Blood Clot by C1997 is a level that was designed to parody a lot of demon levels coming out or upcoming at the time. The level being ordered for Showcase was because we didn't have botting. I'm putting this in here because it has the word blood, and I was there when he released it. I've never been more proud of C1997. There's a rebirth version of it, and I'm glad that 8-Bit Fudge has managed to live up to C1997's legacy. And Ouroboros by Viper and more. If Yonagarasu was the biggest thing of 2.0, then this was the biggest thing of specifically early 2.1. Man, there was a lot of speculation of 2.2 coming out either after this or Bloodlust is quite funny to reflect on. This came out at the perfect time where we had so many hell levels that were just red. Refer back to me talking a minute ago. It first previewed on October 2nd, 2017, and people were in love with its color combination, me included. I remember watching that first preview and was just imagining what could be next after watching out.
The end of the video.
Then that was kind of it? From 2018 to 2020, there weren't as many hell levels as there were in 2.0. At this point, a lot of creators just collectively gave up with the hell theme since it was so oversaturated. The new hot and simple thing was to make the glow style. The only notable things that were out at this time were Crimson Planet hosted by True Omega, Hellgate Menace by Chase, Darkness Keeper by Abstract Dark, The Pressure by Supunj, and Under Lava Land by NRG and more. These levels are actually pretty good, but it showed a decline to the typical form of hell levels we know today. Until they came back with a vengeance.
From late 2019 to 2023, people started receiving hell levels, the red and black kind, much more positively. You know, as a 2.0 guy, this still really baffles me even to this day. Just, what?
Keenus and Tartarus were pretty responsible for kicking it up again. You had Nempesa trying to verify it for 9 months across more than 70 streams, and Tartarus had a tight verification race after being made open for anyone to beat, and once it was beaten, it toppled Zodiac's 11-month reign over the top 1 demon position. Safe to say, a lot of new people got inspiration and motivation to brush up some old hell levels. Either all that, or everyone got collectively inspired by Buddy Knuckles by Pinchbeak 5203 when it got an uplift update in 2020. Now we get to the more well-known and recent ones: Slaughterhouse, Abyss of Darkness, Arcturus, Avernus, Acheron, and Succubin Circles. I'm seeing a pattern of these level names for their first letter.
Ass.
There's even more upcoming levels like Eternus or Grief and Orochi. Oh, poor Orochi, it's been through development hell. Same thing goes for Misanthrope. I hope that gets finished soon. But if there's any consolation, we do have Sweeping Demon and Sweeping Demon 2. Xylonox released a ton of levels that are worth noting. Think of 666, Negrosite, and Nefarious. To be honest, some of them are more factory themed, but his style does kinda make it like that, and you can sorta see some semblance. For the Moist Concrete one, peaceful. Yeah, this one is actual hell, but mostly for people with trypophobia. And my PC. And let's not forget Boomslayer. It's a great level that doesn't personally stick the landing for me. There's so much care put into every part, and I do love the decoration. The song Boom Kitty was also made tailored for this too, but I think what killed it a bit for me was the gameplay. It is just okay. It tries a lot to sync, and it feels so fast paced it makes it pretty annoying to figure it out. The timings feel a bit disjointed when put together, like these orbs and blocks put here feel random. It's also just not as simple as a result, which is a bit infuriating, but that's a personal bias from me. Despite the amazing animations, the boss fight could have had much more depth. He literally just fights the lower half of your screen for half the boss fight. The end screen is amazing though, and this actually helped inspire the intro for Swagger or any animations for my levels.
Outside of that, I searched up hell in the search bar, and well, take a look at all these levels that are hell themed. Yeah, why so many?
Hell Valley by Clouty is pretty neat. It has a Club Step inspired part of it, and other than that, the decoration is quite solid. As a relic of its time, the Thanks end screen takes up 10% of the level. Helltaker by Surprise. I'm not really surprised this level exists. This gives a very simplified view of Hell and dating. I don't think Hell would have a bricky obstacle course for 80% of its landscape, and then you can get a relationship by picking up 3 hearts. There's a lot of levels that try to parallel Hell with Heaven, or really anything opposite of Hell. Hell and Heaven by Piss is an older level that is quite sick. The opening to this level is pretty cute, I like it. The staircase here is not wheelchair accessible, and then you ascend into Heaven. Not by a staircase, but by jump pads on clouds. You know what? That's a win for accessibility. But you know, I didn't expect Heaven to be this flat. It's more geometry dashy than I thought. Hellwalker by Zinnes is great. I cannot for the life of me memorize 50 clicks in a 4x speed drop, but I do like the vibe of it. The beginning part is very neat and it contrasts very well. I think I just couldn't adapt to the Neo design gameplay style. Hellish Aspect by Midnight is your typical 1.9 Hell themes level. And then it gives up 3/4 in. Someone must have been pretty inspired to remake Sonic Wave here. Hellfire by SBK exists, it's well polished at least. Hellgate Menace by Chase has a boss fight that I absolutely hate playing. But what do you mean I go down but go like 20 years later to avoid these white cubes? Hell Yeah by Dashio 10 is pretty awesome, it's a unique take on Hell. It's also really fun to play as well. Hell Nah from, I don't even know if I can pronounce that correctly, is not a Hell level from 2.1, and Hell's Castle by Mazur is a Hell level from 2.0, but they're both not that noteworthy. Though I did play this with the replacement song for Golden Hope, and let's just say there was another level that uses Extralist remix of 9 Circles called Hellish Night by Nakashil, and it made it pretty funny. The dialogue written for anything evil in Geometry Dash is always just never not great.
Hi, welcome to Farge. It says on your resume you can jump.
Oh damn it, I shouldn't have put in Hell Jump by Dash on my work experience.
You'll get me somehow? But bro, you just missed like 3 times! I'll just give him another chance. He just missed another 3 times. The level also does help you out a bit, so we're just adding salt to his wound. Hellish Melody by Raui is a level that feels like hell with its song, much like Slaughterhouse and Arcturus. And much like those levels, the gameplay and song are kinda ass, though the level is aware of what the song is. This is not really hell themed, but the Hell Haven series by Classy is an honorable mention for being unique and strange. Unique with the first part always having this white and black style with tons of memorization. This is the worst. And every single time after that part, it just goes back to being Geometry Dash. Like, I know, seriously, it's consistent across all the 3 levels here. This is the first level, and then the second level, and then the third level. The only difference is that this one has a secret way. Hell Gateway Preview by Creepy Dash is just so cool, and this was uploaded in 2014. Imagine if this actually came out finished, it would have such an impact on core design and levels in general. The first part is so stylish and structured, and then it kinda gives up. I'm sensing a pattern here, but at least it still looks cool. And of course, Punch made another level starting with Hell. Hell Depth's epilogue is a what could have been level. I remember him saying he wanted to make this go for the entire song, but what we have now is a remnant of GD's botched save corruptions. Otherwise, this level is a really otherworldly experience. Things just don't really make sense, and when they do, it's quite unnerving. Also, I think this is gonna be pretty dumb, but doesn't this part of the level's song sound like this? God damn it, it does.
Also, you know Stormfly in his Hell series remakes? I mentioned Son's Hell levels about 20 minutes ago, but from 2.0 to 2.1 they've been all getting remade, plus some of his unfinished levels like the Hell Inferno also got remade as well.
I briefly mentioned the Hell Inferno, but not the Hell field because there were some of Son's unfinished levels. More specifically, there were probably 3 versions, and it would have been pretty confusing to start talking about that 26 minutes ago. With Stormfly's remakes, you have all the levels, including the unfinished ones, still retaining their original name. The Hell Zone was actually made by Cyclic, Ryan LC, Korika, 1234, and Silence, but the rest were made by Stormfly and his gang. The Hell World is okay, the Hell Dignity is pretty cool in this one part, the Hell Origin is better and certainly more unique, the Hell Field is pretty decent, the Hell Inferno is just amazing because of this one part made by Stormfly. It has such a good concept and execution, plus every other part is also as good. The Hell Trinity is the Ouroboros of the Hell series, to put it aptly. And finally, the Hell Holder. This hasn't been in a creating lore, and there's not much progress outside of a preview in 2021 and a creator contest. Hopefully it comes out. And then there are the parodies and the fake Hell series levels. The Hell Nuts, the Hell Burr, the Hell Legacy, the Hell Miracle, the Hell Union, and the Hell Amplitude. If you want to get sick of listening to the main songs and also their level names, this is a start. Stormfly also made Scardian for one of his solos, and honestly he was the best person to remake the Hell series. Even if they made varying quality, his strive to make interesting executions of the Hell theme really shows in this level. It's just really well made, really. Also, Manix came back around this time, which is pretty crazy to see, to be honest. And he came back with a Cataclysm remake called Armageddon. This is really amazing. I cannot beat it, but goddamn do I want to if I was dedicated enough. It's so good visually, and the gameplay of it by himself, Woogie, and Wreckage was altered a ton to keep it fresh. Even the iconic pulsing structures part in the original was changed so tastefully and amazingly. No complaints here, really. And the Valley of Souls with Findexia and Terran is also great. You can definitely tell where each creator's parts were, but that doesn't really detract from it at all. It's still a solid and very accessible Hell ROM.
And now we get to today. Even now, there are still Hell levels that are being built or have been recently released.
Getting it by Ryder and more is pretty neat. There's a preview on Vibrant's channel last year, and I can see it took a page out of Ouroboros' colors while also being very different. I don't know if this really released yet. I'm Dead by Dank is amazing. Visually, I love the sort of pastel and art direction he took with this, but I cannot read the gameplay of this level for the life of me. Everything kinda meshes with each other too well. And this is just the Steam logo. Slasher by Well is an NCS level that was recently released this year. It's great, but I can't be bothered enough to beat it because it's just so long. It's based on the 9 Circles of Hell in its own style, but man, the gameplay just kinda makes me really bored, especially at the start. But the drop is amazing thematic wise, where you just go further down into hell, literally. I kinda hate playing that part. The end screen is... I'm surprised RobTop actually put this in the gauntlet. Some kids are definitely going to shit themselves.
Oh fuck, I'm 20!
Man, there's so many to go through. Fair Knife Hell by TM Co, The New Dawn by Sapunch, Malfunction by Mr. Yer. Don't even get me started on the platformer levels too. I have to kinda skip them because of just how many hell levels we already have. This guy's name is literally Hell, but what the hell?
Eyes!
Some honourable mentions that I like to include that aren't hell themed but could pass off as one if you took their definition in a very different direction. Devon 2003's entire catalogue of levels. Not in the typical sense of hell, but more like your eyes, ears and minds are going through hell trying to figure out what the hell is going on in here. But most aren't really hell themed, so that's why they're here. Our Fountain by LP44 is weird. Weird enough to make this actually feel like it's another world. I didn't really think that was really possible with Geometry Dash, but with the level's song and dialogue sounding so disjointed when you try to read, it kinda clicks. But if it doesn't, it just puts you to sleep.
Dude, I know I got 8 hours of sleep.
Between Worlds by Loco is not really hell themed, but it does have a hellish aspect to it. The last part is definitely something you don't really want to be in. The song is made by the creator himself, and it's really impressive with its audio work. All the transitions in the level are really just part of the song, and well, yeah, it's just amazing work. The Yandere and Yangere by Dorami and more is great. Can it technically pass as a hell theme level? If it has a lot of red and black, then, well, you can try to beat me up for trying to use that definition on a technicality. In my opinion, it could pass off as one, but only depending if you're not into these types of girls. For me, no, so it's a hell level. Maybe for you, it might be heaven. In that case, do I have the perfect levels for you? The Yandere looks alright, but the Yangere looks amazing. Everyone improved so much and it really paid off. And I forgot to mention this, but have you ever thought of combining Cataclysm, Bloodbath, and Aftermath? Well, Sonic's thought so, but not Boy of the Cones. After Catabath, which shouldn't be confused with After Catabath, is a 2.0 insane demon and it is one hell of a level. The transitions suck. There is one part that looks quite decent for its time, but the rest are pretty average and your typical Geometry Dash hell level fare. Boy of the Cone's reaction to initially finally beating the level is amazing, and even if it's been 8 years, congratulations! He also rebeat it as well.
Oh my god.
There's probably more hell levels I could talk about, but let's just stop right there because there's just so many of them. So what's the deal with hell levels? Everyone used to have so many complaints about it back then, but nowadays the hatred against it has really significantly died down. It's really baffling and also very interesting how much we've either begrudgingly or just lovingly accepted them. I guess we may be viewing hell levels in a new sort of lenses now.
But hey, it's still interesting that these levels are still around and alive. Even if we do get the standard red and black demon with a lot of imagery that would make every religion look at us with concern, there are always other levels to spice it up. Though, it is still quite original at times. But it still seems like hell resonates with the people making it, but receiving wise, not really. But I guess why they stayed for so long is the same deal with Sonic Wave. It's just a historic part of GD that people are enamored with. We did get the demon rating and no doubt that inspired it. I think I enjoy playing hell levels when looking back on it rather than playing them nowadays. It has the allure of the older times when Geometry Dash creators tried their best to represent hell in the way they could and give a challenge in its gameplay. Though I think that's more of generally older levels, they just have that spice. Overall, it's neat to see a unique interpretation of it, or at least see it continuing to live on.
I think I cracked the solution of going to hell. It took 30 minutes of unrelated explaining about hell levels, but what I found is that all it needs is 300 demons, 10,000 stars, a sacrificial mouse, okay, bye G502, and your soul. Wait a minute, I need my soul. Who else is gonna finish talking about hell levels 22 months in advance? I might have f***ed up. I think I might have beaten too many demons. I do have over 300.
No, not you. You're not a real demon in Geometry Dash. Don't make me look it up to prove it. I also have Jesus on my side. received it. Wait, you are real. In my ass, bitch!
Well, I know what to not do for this Halloween. Don't fuck with demons. They will destroy your ass with their horns. Wait, this just crosses out like a quarter of the list. Well, we can talk about Jake levels. Okay, bye G502.